47 hours and 57 minutes away. I know you love the countdowns, Derek. I had to give it to you. The ball will have already been kicked at this point on Sunday. That's how desperately I am waiting for this season to start. What's up, everybody? We're back. We are Sports Tape, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network on this Friday. We are now, guys, 47 hours and 57 minutes away. I know you love the countdowns, Derek. I had to give it to you. The ball will have already been kicked at this point on Sunday. That's how desperately I am waiting for this season to start. All right, so let's run through it, guys. Let's start with our predictions. Let's get on the record here when it comes to this Eagles team. What do we think the regular season record will be for this team? Keep in mind, they were a team that won 9 games last year. They were 9-8, got into the wild card. We know they got bounced in the first round by Tampa, but they did get into the postseason. Derek, I'll start with you. Where do you think they will be this year once the regular season comes to a conclusion?
I have been consistent with saying 11 wins, so I'm going to stick at 11 wins. I think they're going to win a couple of games you're not expecting them to win, and they're going to lose 1 or 2 games we're not expecting them to lose. And so when it all balances out, I think 11 wins is very obtainable for this team, which should give them the division title.
Okay. B?
I'm going 11 wins also. Just because they're going to hit a little rocky patch here and there, but it's going to be enough to win the division, get some home field advantage. But during the mid part of the year, they're going to hit a little rocky patch, and they're going to doubt themselves a little bit. But then they'll come back and be okay, and then you'll get a full head of steam going into the playoffs. And I'm gonna go so far as to say at least make it past the second round of playoffs.
Ooh.
So I'm talking about the championship game.
All right. I like that. I think they win 11 games. I think they win a game, and I think depending on the matchup, they very well, as Barrett just said, could get into the NFC Championship game. I look at the schedule. I think it's a combination for me, guys, of the schedule, of Dallas coming back to earth a little bit, of a team that's vastly improved. Even if Hurts isn't great, doesn't take it to this just crazy next level, I still think they're capable of winning 11. They won 9 with Jalen Reagor as one of your starting wide receivers, with Jalen Hurts still learning the position a lot more. In the first year, with your head coach, with your defense, offensive, and special teams coordinator, with not nearly the talent on defense that they have this year, absolutely 2 more wins are not just possible, but I think very likely, at least.
I think this is a topic also we should revisit at the halfway point of the season, whether it's after the 8th or 9th game, to see if we feel the same way, lesser, or even more so, go for the stretch run.
Yeah, I think we will absolutely do that, Derek. There's no question we will do that. And we will revisit this. So, yeah, I think they're going to be good. Let's look at the division. I think, fair to say, I think they win the first Cowboys game. I think they lose that last one. It's the third of a back-to-back-to-back. Mm-hmm. I think they lose. I don't think that's a good spot on. I hate to say it may ruin some people's Christmases. I'm not trying to do that,
Yep.
But I have to keep it real. I think they lose that one. I think they sweep the Giants, and I think they split Washington. So if that's the case, yeah, that's pretty good. You're 4-2 in the division.
Right. I agree with you on Dallas and Washington. The Giants are a tricky one because the Giants, we've all left them for dead. They're decimated on the offensive line, but they gave the Eagles fits last year. For whatever reason, they just gave them fits. And I agree that on surface right now, I believe they should sweep the Giants, but I wouldn't be surprised if they end up splitting with that team because of the grudge match, element between these two.
And it is hard to discount division games or just kind of write division games off because even when one of the teams is bad, it's usually ugly and sloppy, and one play can kind of flip a game either way. A lot of times, even when there's a talent disparity on one side or the other, we've seen it for years in not just the NFC East, but almost any division. It can tend to look that way for sure.
Oh, no question. We see it happen every year.
Yeah.
Divisional play. You know what they say? Throw the records out the window when divisional opponents get together. because they're some of the most unpredictable games in the NFL.
They are, man. They are, man. And it always seems like your boy. I don't see why Jones wants to cut up on us. You know, he turns into a track star against us every time he plays against us.
Exactly.
He has at least a 50-yard run every time he plays against us, man. I don't understand how Jones does that.
But we have the 12th man in our favor when it comes to him taking off, which is the turf monster.
The turf, yeah.
Yeah. But then Dallas also, we should sweep Dallas this year. I mean, we already planted our secret weapon down there in Dallas, in JP
Jason Peters.
Yeah,
good point,
bro. I mean, I just being honest, man. Hassan Reddick may have 3 sacks.
Yeah, they're going to tee off.
3 sacks.
They're going to tee off. I just think ebb and flow of season, that smells like a loss to me, just because of the way the schedule's set up.
No, don't say that, Rob.
Barrett, that's hard, man. You know,
I
I'm
know.
preaching to the choir, but third straight road game, oof.
Well, they swept us the last 2 years, though.
They did.
The last 2 years they swept us. So this is our time to turn it on now. Yeah. It's our time to go out there with our broom and sweep them.
I think the other good thing is the schedule allows you to get going. Like I think Minnesota Monday night next week, I guess. Yeah, it would be
next week. Yeah.
Right. It's going to be really hard. Like I think that is not an easy one. I don't think going to Washington is going to be a cakewalk, but I think the Eagles should win the game. Then you get Jacksonville. I know there's emotions with Doug, but the Eagles are better. And you know, that Arizona game to me is like a coin toss. I want to see how Arizona starts here. I'm not sold on them.
He won't have Hopkins though.
He won't have Hopkins. That's true. Because the Eagles get fortunate. They're before that 6-game suspension is up. You're right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we won't have Hopkins. Monday night, man. This is the first game. They're coming into town Monday night. You know how they play on Monday on primetime games. Primetime games, we're usually better than them on primetime games.
Yeah. It's been a bit of a kryptonite for Cousins.
Yeah. So I think it leans in our favor. Washington. I don't know if you guys remember, I did my little breakdown on the schedule, and I said that's going to be a loss for us. And I might still think with it, man. I still might think that, man, because it's going to be hard, you know, going into Washington, number one. Number two, remember they almost knocked our quarterback. They almost knocked Jalen Hurts out at the end of the game.
Yeah,
the wall fell down.
Yeah,
and it almost hit him. But no, seriously though, I really think Carson at the beginning of the year, Carson is a strong candidate, man, for being great, bro. He's really good in the beginning of the season. Right. End of the season, he fades.
Yep. True.
At the beginning of the season, he plays very, very well.
Yeah.
I will say this about that Vikings game. If the Vikings somehow, some way lose that home opener grudge match against Green Bay, because you guys, Zadarius Smith talking about how he wanted to go to Minnesota to play Green Bay twice because of the way Green Bay treated him last year. He felt he was treated bad by Green Bay last year. Green Bay's won the division 3 years in a row. The Vikings are looking to assert themselves as, hey, we're not that same team that's going to play second fiddle to a Green Bay. If they mess around and lose that home opener to Green Bay, they're going to come in here on a Monday night with even more so of a sense of urgency. That's going to be a great matchup on that Monday night game.
We got some great football coming, bro.
Oh, we do. And I'll tell you, I'll just give you a little sneak peek. That Vikings-Packers game is going to be one of the games I'm picking for the weekend. One of the picks I'm going to give out. Okay. So we will we'll touch on that. Let's do expectations here. All right. So let's start with the big boy here. Let's start with Jalen. What do we expect? It doesn't necessarily have to be numbers, okay?
For the year, we're going for the year.
Yeah, just what, for you, what do you need to see here? What is the progression and what are the concerns? And it doesn't have to be he's got to throw for 4,000. I'm just saying, like, what do you?
Well, you know what? I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say, in order for him to be a guy, and he's playing for a contract, and we're talking about a contract that is going to be upwards of $40 million a year. In order for him to get that type of money, he's got to be right around 39 to 4,000 yards passing. That's not a hard feat when you think about it. That's almost like that's actually like what?
Well, it's 17 games too.
Yeah, so out of 17 games, I mean, I'm trying to think of. I wish I could do. Is anybody? What's 17 divided by? What's 17 divided by 4,000? 4,000 divided by 17. Rather.
I got it. So it comes out to about 235 yards per game.
Very attainable.
Is that hard?
Very attainable.
No, that's not hard to me.
Not with this receiving core.
No,
And this
that's what I'm
offensive
saying.
line.
With that offensive line, you have Dallas Goedert. You got receivers that can really, really catch. And a running game that's going to open up the pass. That's very obtainable, man. Even if he averages like 200 yards a game, there's going to be a couple of games where he's going to have 300 yards, and you're going to have to go to the pass and beat him. So that's very obtainable. Then I'm also thinking he needs at the very least, 26 to 28 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's got to jump. And I'll tell you what also has to jump, Barrett. His completion percentage has got to go way up.
Yes.
There are some things, some stats you can kind of look at and say, all right, I mean, it's misleading. Completion percentage is not one of them. He's got to be way better than what he was last year.
Has to. You're right, man.
61% completion percentage is not good enough.
No.
16 touchdown passes is not good enough. Throwing for only 3,100 yards is not good enough. I'm not going to put a number and say he has to throw for 4,500 yards, but his numbers across the board have to improve because he's being evaluated every week.
Yes.
It's a self-evaluation on him, and it's a bigger organizational evaluation moving forward because teams are already strategizing for next year. Yes, they're focused on this year, but every team in the league is already strategizing for 2023. So the evaluation process begins this Sunday for Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, and we know too that they're not only are they going to load the box, Barrett. You said 8 men fronts and certainly the way the season is going to start. But I think the other thing that we're going to have to see from him is he willing to be patient in that pocket? Is he willing to step up in the pocket? Is he willing to climb the pocket, sidestep, and just hit that second, third guy? Or is it just, hey, live bullets are flying, I'm taking off? That's also what we're gonna see really quickly about what he's all about now.
One of the biggest improvements he has to make is ball security. The word got out that you could slap the ball out of his hand. I don't know if it's because of the size of his hands or what, but he better improve in ball security because that is huge for the development of a quarterback.
I didn't think he lost a lot of balls. He made a lot of.
He recovered them, but he got got slapped. And I don't know if it's the size ratio of his hands or what. I have no idea.
Right.
But you've got to protect that ball.
4 fumbles, 1 lost. 4 fumbles, 1 lost.
And he's a guy that's going to run the ball, man. He's going to
run the ball.
Yeah.
His legs, man. Is he going to be one of those guys that's just going to run first? I saw some progression as far as him going into his progression. I've seen him now go out there and execute the offense. And, like we said, Coach said that was the best best day of practice he's ever seen.
Yep. Against Miami.
That's because he hit the checkdowns. He hit the quick, the quick slant routes because that's what the defense was giving him.
Mm-hmm.
You got to take what the defense is giving you if you want to be a successful quarterback. So if you don't have your first read, go to your second read. If you don't have your second read, if you don't have a third read immediately, hit the check down. There's nothing wrong with hitting the check down. People used to think, oh, man, you hit the check down. So if the defense is giving you the check down.
Nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Look at Josh Allen last night. He was taking that every time. Tom Brady takes it every time.
Hey, there's a lot of quarterbacks in this league. There's a lot of quarterbacks in this league that make a lot of money checking down.
Tom Brady's the perfect example of that.
Yes.
Tom is going to take exactly what you give him. You keep giving that, he's going to when you play dominoes, I'm just going to keep nicking to death. Here, 5. Here I go. 5 more. Here go 5 more. Next thing you know, the drivers went, and you have 18, 19 plays. The defense is bending over. Now you can go in and score.
Yeah, there's nothing. Hey, man, whatever. However you get down the field, who cares? It doesn't matter.
That's how we play bones.
That's almost like a good running game. It's just going to wear you down.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, so there's nothing wrong with that. All right, so
I'm scaring my puppy, man. She's like, what the hell is going on?
Yoki just yakied.
Yeah.
All right, so that's Hurts. Let's go. The man who won against the B today, AJ Brown. What are we looking at here? Does he crack the 1,000-yard mark? What are we looking at in terms of touchdowns, yards per catch? How are we feeling about AJ in his first year with the Birds?
The comfort level that he has with Jalen Hurts, just the magnitude of what he brings to the table as far as a forgiving catch radius. And people say, why you always say forgiving catch radius? I say forgiving catch radius because he doesn't have a huge catch radius because he's not a long wide receiver. But what he is he gives a forgiving catch radius because if you throw the ball and it's not exactly on his body, he can get it. He can shield off a guy and get it. He can muscle a ball from a DB. That's what I mean by forgiving catch radius. Mm-hmm. You throw it to him, he's going to catch it and keep the DB from catching it if he doesn't catch it. That's what you get out of A.J. Brown. So, yes, I believe he will have 1,000 yards. There are going to be times where people are going to be trying to stop the run. That means you're going to have to leave him one-on-one to the outside, or at least zoned. And he can sit down the zone, big enough body, he can take a hit. He's going to have to be that X factor, not just in the red zone, but just on third down, man. Keep the sticks moving. Keep the sticks moving. So, yes, I think he has 1,000 yards.
I wonder if because of equal distribution, will it affect his overall numbers? I mean, the first 2
That's
years
going to happen,
he had
yeah.
over 1,000.
Definitely.
He had over 1,000 yards receiving his first 2 years. Last year, he had 800 something, I believe, because he missed a couple of games due to injuries. Because of equal distribution, the way if we're basing it on what we've seen from a Sirianni offense last year, based on the way he likes to get everybody involved in the passing game and keep everybody guessing, I can see three of the receivers having over 900 yards. But I hope AJ gets 1,300 yards receiving, but I can see three receivers having well over 900 yards because everybody's in it. He likes to throw the ball to his backs as well, likes to get them involved as well. I don't think we're going to see a back like a Brian Westbrook did back in the day when Westbrook in his day had 73 catches for 700-something yards. But because, Gainwell's a good pass catcher out of the backfield. Boston Scott catches out. All of them catch it out of the backfield. You got Goddard over here. You got 3-4 receivers. That's taking away a lot of numbers. And if teams are focusing on taking A.J. Brown out of the game, that means the numbers are going to go up for everybody else.
Right.
That's a great point by you, Derek.
Yeah,
that's
Derek, right on.
Great. I mean, distribution, man.
Yeah.
And that's keeping defenses off your heels.
Absolutely.
I mean, you go into it with a lot of teams, like, perfect example, the Rams last night. They had one guy that they can go to consistently. And you shut that one guy down, your offense sputters. If you have equal distribution, you can get out to all your receivers, get it on all guys that can go out there and make play. Well, we forget about how good Dallas Goedert is when he gets the ball in his hands.
Yes.
He takes it to another level.
Exactly.
Exactly. So just him alone. Imagine running a little screenplay to Sanders now. Sanders trying to play for his money, man. He's trying to get his money. So you give it to him. His elusiveness, out the backfield with a screenplay. Give him a little Texas route. Texas route when you go out just past the tackle and go in like a little slant, one-on-one against a linebacker. I'll take that all day with
Lights
Sanders.
out. Lights out.
So you're right, man. Equal distribution. Oh, and by the way, everybody's trying to worry about what Smitty's doing and what A.J. Brown's doing and Goddard's doing in the middle. And all of a sudden you look over, you see that man running down the field wide open from the slot.
There you go.
I mean, that's just what Quez does. You just forget about where he is, and all of a sudden he's beating you deep.
Yeah.
Everybody's worried about everybody else.
And Pascal's got to get his touches. Pascal.
In the middle of that, I mean, he's going to be a guy to keep the sticks moving.
So that's why I say individual numbers could suffer, but overall numbers will be a great thing because then Jalen Hurts' numbers are going up.
Yeah, and I think really, and that so I don't even need to dig into Devontae Smith because I think we'd all agree his numbers may look similar or maybe even a little less than last year, but that's not a bad thing. He's got A.J. Brown on the other side now. He's not going to be, maybe targeted as much, but you watch if the attention's paid to A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith is going to hurt teams bad. I mean, he's in his second. I just think about the learning curve he has now in his second year. This guy's a technician already. How much better are his routes going to be? His understanding of what they're throwing at him. Devontae Smith this guy's the Heisman Trophy winner.
We forget about that, right?
I mean, come on. So amazing what he's going to do.
Oh, we forget about that, man. We forget about how good
you do.
He had like 1,800 yards his senior year.
Yeah,
1,800 yards. Like 20-something touchdowns.
Yep.
On his way to a Heisman.
All he did was produce. He caught the ball that Tua threw in that national championship game.
That's right.
All that guy does is produce. All right, let's hop to the other side now. Hassan Reddick. What's fair in terms of sacks, in terms of tackles, impact, just how we're seeing him used and utilized in that defense with Gannon?
Hassan Reddick, the sky's the limit for him. He's talking about he's going to get double-digit sacks. He's averaged that the last 2 years. I just see him being a guy that, you don't know where he's going to line up, and it's going to give him an added advantage that, people really don't know where he's going to be at. So how do you allocate resources to stop him if you don't know where he's going to line up at? You go in there with a 30 front, you got 3 down linemen, and you want to bring in a 4th defender, and that's him. He can line up in the inside and outside, and it's hard for you to really account for him. And that's the worst thing you could do. I can remember us, for instance, we're playing Miami, and what was his name? Thomas
Zach
Taylor.
Thomas?
Taylor.
Oh, Jason Taylor.
We're playing Jason Taylor, Hall of Famer. Same type of guy. And he would line up everywhere on the field. So it was hard for us to get a beat on how to block for him, how to account for where he would be.
Mm-hmm.
So he lined up at linebacker depth. All of a sudden, he'd walk on the line of scrimmage in the inside or the outside. And, it was hell as an offensive line trying to figure out who's going to block, because you couldn't block him one-on-one.
Right.
He was shifted enough that you couldn't block him one-on-one. So you had to figure out a way in which to block him. And that's what made him such a great player, because his ability to understand blocking schemes, and I think Hassan Reddick knows that, and where he can go to counter what we're trying to do to pick him up. And I think that, he's talked enough with Gannon to put him in better situations, great situations.
Derek?
He's averaged just under 12 sacks a game the last 2 seasons.
Last 2, yep.
He said in training camp that he feels good about where he is in Gannon's defense. And if we base it on what he said and what Barrett just said in terms of them moving him around, I expect him to have at least 11, 12 sacks in 2022. It's that simple. If you utilize him to the best of his ability, there's no reason why this man should not have 3 years in a row in double-digit sacks. Because of his skill set, his ability to attack, his ability to take on bigger men and shed blocks as well as he did over the last couple of seasons. So with that said, I'd be shocked if he had less than 11 quarterback sacks this season, based on what we've seen for him the last 2 years and based on what we've heard him say in terms of where he thinks he is right now in that defensive scheme.
Yeah, see, for me, if he's not in double-digit sacks, if he's healthy, it's on Gannon.
Yes.
It's on Jonathan Gannon.
Absolutely.
Yes,
because he's got the ability. And he is a guy who, you've seen it when he's utilized right the last year in Arizona and last year in Carolina, that the guy is that player. So,
yeah.
And it's not like you just can strictly focus on him. Barrett, you make great points about how hard it's going to be because he's moving around and all that. But I mean, you gotta focus attention on a lot of other players too.
Exactly.
Fletcher and Hargrave and
just think about that. Think about that. Fletcher, Hargrave had 6.5 sacks last year. He was second only to Sweat.
Yep.
I mean, no, I think they tied. They tied for the same amount of sacks. And
7.5 was the tops.
Yeah, and then I think Hargrave had 7.5 also. Then you take Fletch. Fletch is playing for a new contract. Fletch sees the writing on the wall. He sees the big fella sitting there, young fella Davis sitting there. So he wants to show all 31 other teams that, hey, I'm ready to ball. You bring you on your team, I'm going to make sure I'm going to be a double-digit sack guy. So he's going to have a lot of attention elsewhere, which will allow him to be more of a force in the inside. Yeah. And we know BG say, hey, I'm going out with a bang. If this is going to be my last year, I'm going out a bang. But I do want to play a little longer. So let me show everybody that I can play a little bit. And he goes out there and he balls. So this defense, not even talking about the back end, but this defense up front is going to be a major nuisance to a lot of people, man.
Yeah,
I just can't wait to see him today.
Agreed.
I don't think Fletcher will get double-digit sacks only because he's asked to do a lot of dirty work.
Right.
I don't expect
the totals. Yeah. I expect him to have a phenomenal season because there's a lot of measurables when you talk about a Fletcher Cox that you don't see. The fact that he can consistently collapse a pocket to open up a lane for somebody else to shoot through. He's stout against the run. He's got extra motivation this year because of the money factor and his tenure here in Philadelphia. I'm sure he wants to make it very difficult for Howie Roseman and that front office to delete him from the equation beyond this year.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
He doesn't want to go anywhere else.
You're right. At his spot, like Fletcher Cox could have 5-6 sacks, and he could have a great year.
Absolutely.
He is not measured solely in sacks. 100%.
I mean, he's made the Pro Bowl with 5 or 6 sacks because people recognize what he does in a defensive scheme, how disruptive he is in a defensive scheme with his ability to control his portion of the line of scrimmage.
Yeah,
I can see him playing more along that. I mean, obviously he hemmed and hawed about how he was utilized last year in Gannon's system, but they came to a meeting of the minds. And he played consistent football last year.
Yeah,
that's
and they're
the reason
good
why
now. They both know where each other's coming from.
Oh, yeah.
They're both on record saying
Absolutely.
that. All right, so let me hit you with 2 more guys who will be playing a lot of end. What do we think from Brandon Graham in terms of sacks? Give me a number. I'm gonna go 8. I'm gonna go 8.
I agree with you. Yeah, it was a couple of years ago. We were all talking about how Brandon Graham was finally going to get his double-digit sacks. And like at about week 10, he just hit a wall and didn't get another sack for like 4 or 5 games and still finished with, I think it was 9.5. It was like, and when I talked to him about it, he goes, D-Gun, I was right there. I was right there. I said, what happened? He goes, I don't know. He couldn't figure it out why he couldn't get over that 9.5 hump. And so I agree with you. I think he's going to be right around. And based on the fact of what he told us on this show, that if he plays less this season compared to what he's played in the past, he's fine with that, because that gives him more durability and longevity to stay on the football field. He's not asked to play 65, 70% of the snaps. If he plays 30, 40% of the snaps and he's effective, he's fine with that.
Absolutely.
D-Gun, Rob, imagine this. You've got BG not tired going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Not tired.
Mm-hmm.
That means he's going just like he started the game out. He's still going at that because he hadn't played 100% of the snaps.
That's right.
I put my money on BG all day.
Same here. I don't doubt him. I don't care. Achilles 34. I don't care. I don't doubt him. This is a guy I do want to see numbers from. I'm not saying definitely 10, but I'm saying you better rate in the neighborhood. Josh Sweat. I want Josh Sweat right in that double-digit neighborhood.
I'll do you one better than that. Yeah. I'm saying he's going to be the leading sack guy in the locker room.
Oh, more so than Reddick?
More so than Reddick.
Oh.
We're talking double-digit sacks.
Okay.
He's ready to take that
you
next
got two
step.
guys in double digits then.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
He's taking that next step into being, in fact, that might be my stance on my show tonight. That's exactly what it's going to be. Sweat becomes the player we thought we were going to get when he left Florida.
Okay.
The versatile athlete. You can tell now that knee is okay. His get off is at another level right now. His ability to speed the bull has become a whole lot better. He's playing with his hands better. He's finishing plays. Sweat had a great camp. He's going into this year, going to be the leading sack guy this year.
I like it. Look, if that's the case, if those two guys, Sweat and Reddick, are that dominant, man, it's going to be good things for the guys inside. That's for sure.
Hey, I'm looking here at what Brian H. is saying. He says, I feel Philly over-evaluates the talent. How do you guys respond to that? Over-evaluates the talent.
I don't think so. I don't think we're over-evaluating the talent on this team. I think that they've really upgraded in a big way.
Yes,
I do. And I think that the players
young
that they
talent
brought,
too.
Well, I mean, the players they brought in, let's start with Reddick. Reddick's a guy who we just mentioned has been in double-digit sacks the last 2 years. Bradbury, other than last year, and there was a lot of things going on in New York last year. So I'm going to lay a lot on that. It was only 2 years ago that this guy was a stud. Okay. So, and I don't think he's lost it. I don't think he's fallen off a cliff. So I think he's real. Kaiser White was really good in LA last year with the Chargers, and their coach says it every time he's asked about him, but it was a money move. So I don't think there's an overrating. But look, for me, if people are going crazy about Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean, that's fair where you can say slow down their rookies. But these guys have proven it in the NFL. So I can't, and AJ Brown's a proven commodity. So I can't.
Absolutely.
I would disagree. I think fans, look, Brian, I think fans sometimes will go overboard because they want to see their team win. It's the natural inclination. But I don't think that we are over evaluating. I mean, look, if you wanted to make an argument, give Brandon Graham a bit of a break. He's coming off an Achilles.
Right.
Okay. Maybe. But I don't see it with the other guys that we were just discussing. I really don't. I think they're all going to show up big this year.
But all we've heard about Brandon Graham from himself and his teammates, Brandon Graham has looked like if he's tapped into the fountain of youth. He's got the burst back. He's got the explosiveness back. Brandon Graham has said to the media, no, I'm 100% back. I feel great, feel better than I'm fresh. I missed a lot of last season. My body's not beat up. So we know what Brandon Graham is capable of doing in situational play. We know it's a nightmare to deal with one-on-one off the edge. That's not an over-evaluation. That's a factual statement based on what we've seen him do. Is he a year older? Yes. But I say because of the fact he missed the bulk of that season last year, he didn't have the wear and tear on his body. Brandon Graham's like a kid in a candy store right now.
Right.
You know,
And the beauty is you're not asking him to do as much as you were in years past,
no,
right?
and he's expecting to play less.
Yeah. And by the way,
Yes.
Brian, good question, and you know we appreciate that kind of stuff, and we appreciate you and everybody's feedback. So, but yeah, I just think those guys
Absolutely.
are proven NFL players to play at a high level that they brought in, as opposed to like sometimes you'll make a move based off of somebody who was like a second stringer, third stringer, couldn't get their shot, but you feel like, all right, when they get here, they're going to blossom. But really, most of the players we just talked about were starters elsewhere and effective starters elsewhere. That's why I feel really good about this roster, man. I just do. I think they have talent-wise. If you run through the NFL, and I'm maybe not, you know, like Buffalo and some of these super upper echelon, but if you run through the Eagles roster talent just on paper compared to other teams, I'll take the Eagles almost every day over these other teams.
Yeah. Plus, when you look at the moves, how he made, Howie didn't just bring in veteran bodies to fill gaps. He's brought in players that have played the game at a high level, players that have gotten a lot of accolades from not only their former coaching staff, but other players as well. You know, you look at the safety, a cornerback, a wide receiver, a linebacker, 2 linebackers. You know, they've all played at a high level. You know, so he's brought in frontline guys. He's not just bringing in roster fillers. So, yes, it's easy to get excited about the prospects of what this collective unit can do if it all gels. Now, of course, there's the other side, Barrett. You know, there's that other side. You can have all the talent in the world, and sometimes it just doesn't mesh.
Right.
You know, we've seen that happen also.
And that's real.
It's going to happen here.
You're right.
Derek, that's real. It's especially real early in the season when you're trying to fit all these new parts together. And when you haven't played a lot of real
snaps together.
Snaps together against other
that might be a
teams.
detriment.
Yeah.
You know, right. For them. That might be detriment for them.
You know, I don't think it will be, but
right.
It's a possibility. History has shown.
And Gannon's got to make it work, man. I'm looking at the roster, and we're talking about talent that Howie brought in. That's 3 guys. That's 3 guys that were brought in not because we're left the team, not because of they weren't producing
or attitude or anything like that. Yeah,
it was more so contractually they just didn't want to pay him, but they wanted to keep him. So when you talk about CJ Garner-Johnson, same deal. They tried to work a contract, didn't work, so they wanted to get at least some worth out of him without him playing and then not getting anything out of him.
Absolutely.
Kasir White, they're still pissed off they let him go.
Yeah. And
like you said, Hassan Reddick, they were pissed off they let him go.
Yeah. Matt, do you think Matt Rule wanted to see his Temple guy walk out the door?
Exactly.
So
that's a lot of production leaving.
Based on what you said, it's 5 guys, 4 on defense, 1 on offense. AJ Brown, they don't want to pay AJ.
Exactly.
So that's 5 frontline players that other team. You know, Bradbury, Giants numbers game, they couldn't pay him. You know, so that's 5 guys right there, 5 frontline guys who are now plugged into this system.
Starters
to help this system be a lot better than it was a season ago.
All right, you guys ready for more Howie being Howie? So he has now converted $4.615 million of Isaac Seumalo's base salary into a signing bonus.
There you go.
With an extra void year added, creating $3.692 for cap space this season. Philly now is about $9.5 million in cap space following the move.
That's 3 players in like 48 hours that they've restructured now.
And what I wonder is he going to do something like now, or is this just if I need to make a Jay Ajayi in-season move, I'm poised to do it now?
I think it's that, and I said that the other day. Anytime Howie starts structuring, playing with people's money and giving them more money up front, that means the wheel's spinning. Something else is coming sooner rather than later. Yep. And I can see something happening like a Jay Ajayi move. They're going to let certain elements play out right now to see how it fits, see what it looks like, and then make a determination. Hey, we might need to get another one here, another one there, and go out and get it at a bargain basement price because there are a whole lot of nervous veterans sitting at home right now waiting for somebody to call them to play on a 1-year deal.
Yeah, very true. All right,
well, let's team like this.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Let's jump to the coaches now. I'm going to work backwards, okay? Michael Clay, a guy who, you know, we probably don't discuss much. I know he's a special teams coach. Certainly doesn't fall into the Steichen, Gannon, Sirianni realm. They're always sort of afterthoughts, special teams coach for whatever reason. But other than Jake Elliott, special teams has not been that impressive, guys. And really, if you want to make an argument other than Hurts, by far the biggest question mark going into the season is the special teams.
No question.
We need to see Michael Clay's group step their game up big time.
You know, the coverage teams, the return game, all aspects of it, except the kicking game, even the punting game. You know, Sippo, when he punts, I
I'm
just
not
do like
sold on
this.
Sippos. I am not there, man.
I just put my head down like, okay, let's see what he's going to do this time.
Yep.
You know, no, I mean,
Don't
you're
talk
right.
about that, man. Don't even say that, man. You just ruined my damn Friday going into this
messed up your mojo.
Yeah, man. I'm all excited and everything. You just blew my eye because that's serious.
It's
serious.
honest. It's an honest assessment.
It's real.
We just don't know what's going on, and I've been screaming this for the longest time. That man, you know, Michael Clay. He's young enough to be my damn son. You know what I'm saying? And here he is, special teams coach, and I haven't seen these special teams do as much. I don't know what we're gonna do with. I don't know what we're gonna do with punt return. I know we got Sean Bradley. He's gonna go down there and make some plays.
Yeah, you know that. Yes.
But other than that, and we know Jake Elliott's gonna be able to kick his butt off.
Yeah.
But everything else is a question. I mean, we let JJ go. JJ was a pretty good special teams player.
Special teams player, right?
Yeah, he was.
So who do we have right now that's gonna go down and bust their hump to be?
Well, you better hope like the Reed Blankenship types. You know those guys. Better
there
be
it
able
is.
to play.
That's what I'm talking about. That's you feeling me, Rob? You feeling? You see me, Rob? You
the
see
coverage
me.
teams.
There we go.
The coverage teams worry me. The coverage teams worry me.
That means me
Patrick
too.
Johnson's got to go.
That's not just hang loose, by the way. That's me too in sign language. You guys know that? It is. It's true.
Yeah.
Kyron Johnson's got to be able to play.
Yeah.
Reed Blankenship, Kayvon Wallace, Patrick Johnson, Josh Jobe, Zach McPherson.
Every guy who's activated, who's a second or third string.
Every time Barrett mentions a name, it worries me even more so.
Yeah, that didn't do a lot for me. Those names.
That didn't reassure me in a lot of ways, dude.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm really feeling better there with that one.
And also, you know, you got guys like Grant Calcaterra has got to be on special teams.
Who probably hasn't played a lot of special teams.
Never played in his life. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
That is the hard thing because, you know, when you're talking about rookies who were always the greatest player at their high school, grade school, college, you know, a lot of times those guys didn't play teams, you know, and now you better figure it out real quick if you want to hang around.
Yeah.
You know, that's for sure.
Jacoby Dean, you better go.
All right. Well, let's go Steichen. I want to go Steichen before Gannon. Okay. And this is like a super segment here. This is a supersizer. So let's just finish it off. But Steichen. We always look at Sirianni because he's an offensive minded guy, but Steichen took over the play calling when this team got on a run. So now that he's got AJ Brown, now that you have Jalen in his second year, now that he's the locked in play caller, although Sirianni will jump in with calls sometimes too. But what do we think about Derek? I'll start with you on that one. Steichen expectation. Well,
I mean, he's been given a green light by the head coach to call the plays. And you got to have a lot of trust in your second in command to call the plays. I love the way he called the game last year. He identified what the strength of this team was in a hurry. I like his ability to adjust on the fly. I think him and Sirianni are, what's the word? Simpatico.
There you go.
When it comes to how they look at how they want to attack a defense. I don't think the offense is going to miss a beat. And now that the weapon elements have been increased more so, they have all kind of chess pieces, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they utilize the chess pieces now. I like where the team is right now offensively. I like the hands that they're in terms of calling plays. So I feel comfortable with Steichen calling the plays for this offense.
Okay. B?
Steichen can't go out there thinking that, all right, everybody's expecting Jalen Hurts to pass, so we should pass. Steichen has to take advantage of the talent that he has in his locker room. Don't worry about what the outsiders say. The only number you should be worrying about is the number of wins we have going into the playoffs. And if it wins for us, go out there and do it. Go out there and execute it. If it takes us running 50 times a game, only throwing the ball 10 times a game, then we got to do it. Mm-hmm. The first time he goes out there and thinks that he has to be an Aaron Coryell type of offensive coordinator,
right,
we're screwed. It doesn't matter what we do from that point on. But he has to stay consistent in what his players do best.
Okay.
And I think he'll do that. He's smart enough to know that, hey, what I did worked last year. So I'm not going to stray too far from it, but I definitely got to take advantage of the guys that I have on my team right now.
Yeah, I think he's kind of an unknown a little bit, and that's not necessarily his fault. The Eagles didn't make some grand announcement that he was taking over, but he seemed to have a feel and a pulse for what worked best for this team. But when we saw them play good teams, those defenses figured out a way to shut them down. So he's got some stuff to prove. And I think, look, I think we're going to focus on Gannon now, but Steichen is an interesting guy. All right, Gannon, you know where I'm at. I'm on the Gann wagon. I'm a believer. I think he's got the talent. I think he will do well with this group. Are you guys still in the wait and see approach when it comes to him? Barrett, start with you. Or Derek,
go ahead, Barrett. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Derek. Go ahead.
I cannot get off the wait and see wagon. You're on the Gannon wagon. I'm still very much on that wait and see wagon. I think it's going to be better, but I don't know. I can't give Gannon kudos based on what I saw in the preseason. Obviously, because it was vanilla. He's not going to show you a lot. I want to see how he moves the chess pieces. I want to see who he uses downs and distances. I want to see him. I want to see them be a better attacking defense. I want to see them play more bump and run on the outside. My concern is he may have his corners playing 7-8 yards off the ball, like Buffalo did all game last night. But if his guys can come up and tackle like those Buffalo guys did and converging the ball and keeping everything in front of him and negate the big plays, I have no problem with that. But because he's such an unknown commodity, we have so many question marks. He's one of the biggest question marks we've been talking about all off season. What is he going to do? Is he going to improve? So I can't get off the wait and see wagon because of that.
Barrett?
Derek, I hate to admit it, but I got to wait and see also. And the only way
you guys are my friends. I'll still let you on.
Right. The only way I can equate this to is when I used to take my kids to the toy store. And they used to run around, Dad, I want this.
Yeah, there used to be toy stores for people who were saying,
right,
what?
Toys R Us was a toy store.
Yeah, that used to be a thing.
Dad, I want this. Dad, I want that. Dad, look, Dad. Well, that's what happened with Gannon this year in free agency and in the draft.
Right.
Howie, I want this. Howie, I want that. We need this to make this work. We're going to make that work. All right, I'll be like, so I was a softie. All right, guys. All right, kids. Come on, get what you're going to get. Come on, bring it to the register, and I go on and pay for it. Well, that's exactly what happened this year with Gannon. What you want that? Oh, go ahead and grab it. Yeah, bring it over here. Yeah. Oh, you want that too? Oh, yeah, bring that over here too. All right, you can have this too. Yeah, come on over here. All right, let me put it here. All right, Howie writes a blank check. All right, you got it. You got everything. Now, I don't want it to be like my kids are real young when they used to get all these damn toys, but then they get the toys, they get home, and instead of playing with the toys, they would play with the damn boxes the toys came in.
That's right. Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
True.
I want him to use these toys.
Yeah.
That he was just getting. I don't want him to go back to the old stuff. You know what I'm saying? I don't want him to play with the boxes that are sitting in the front room instead of playing with the toys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They took out of the boxes. My kids will do that all the time. They
better yet, read the instructions and know how to use the toy.
There you go.
And I will add this also. If Gannon's defense has a great game against Detroit, I'm going to say, okay, it was Detroit.
Yep.
The evaluation really comes into play that Monday night game against Minnesota. That's when I'm going to be sitting and watching everything that much closer.
Yes.
Because the personnel his defense is going to be playing against is that much better across the board. From the running back, the offensive line, the collection of wide receivers, the tight ends is going to be that much better than what he's going to face against Detroit.
Yep.
So that's when I'm really going to start saying, okay, I see you, Gannon.
Yep.
I like what you're doing, or here we go again.
Yeah. And a coach who's offensive minded, not Mike Zimmer, who was a conservative, play defense, don't turn it over guy. Kevin O'Connell comes from the McVay tree. So this guy's innovative in terms of his offensive thoughts. All right, let's hold Sirianni till we come back. All right, I want to do that when we come back with Sirianni, and we'll continue with our expectations. I got a lot of other stuff to get to today. We are going to get to our NFL Week 1 quality matchups. We will dive into that as well. Crazy impactful rules changes in baseball. We will hit that as well. Talk about the Phillies also. And we have some good birthdays, and we'll give you our predictions as well on the game itself. The Eagles versus the Lions. All right. So we'll come back. We'll keep it rolling. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Derek, Barrett, and Rob, let's talk Razor technology, identity management. With cyber threats like ransomware on a seemingly endless uptick and the risk of a breach or data loss higher than ever, the need to know just who's accessing your network systems and applications is mission critical. Identity management from Razor Technology is a holistic framework of policies and technologies that lock down access to the right users for only the right reasons. They deploy cutting-edge solutions that identify, authenticate, and monitor access across your entire IT system. Razor Technology determines how users gain an identity in your system, what roles they need to fill, and enforces access controls with network protocols, digital certificates, behavioral analysis, and a secure authentication method. Talk to Razor Technology today to learn how identity management can reduce the risk of a data breach while avoiding costly errors and downtime due to lack of access. Contact Razor Technology today at 866-797-3282, 866-797-3282, or visit them online at razor-tech.com. That's razor-tech.com.